Hi, my name's Nate Larson. I'm an artist and a photographer, and I teach photography up the way at Maryland Institute College of Art. For the last 5 years, I've been making artwork about all kinds of digital data as it intersects with our life, which leads us to this project, which is a funny little collection project I started as a Tumblr blog back in January. And it's loosely inspired by a Russian artist named Alexei Shulgin's Desktop Is project from the mid-90s, where he collected desktop samples from different artists and thinkers and posted it to the internet. So that's what I did. To date, I have about 274 different artists and creative people that have given me their desktop. And I love the ones that are super simple, like these first couple here. You'll notice that there's a nice little organizational color pattern on the right-hand side there. Beautiful, right? And I also love the ones that sort of acknowledge the futility of trying to maintain a clean digital space in this day and age, like this one, where the quote at the bottom says something about how when the face disappears, he knows that it's about to hit the fan. So that's how I feel most frequently. And when I'm thinking about my digital space, it's sort of this weird hybrid of my creative practice and my business life. And I hate to think what this might say if this were mine about either of those two things. I love the sticky notes over here. You know, this little sort of nod to organization amongst this chaos of the Rococo painting and all of those folders. And then this is Hassan Elahi, who teaches at University of Maryland College Park. So you may see him around these parts sooner or later. That would drive me crazy. I don't know precisely how he navigates that digital space. So I also think it's great when people have a little bit of humor in their desktop. So with this one, this is sort of her break when she minimizes a window, and you have lasers and dinosaurs. Amazing, right? So in terms of thinking about the digital space, it's so closely linked to our ideas of identity. This is a painter in New York, and she painted the backdrop herself. And she talks about how she feels disoriented when she logs onto her computer and it's not there. And apparently it's been on every computer she's had since 1997. So this is Carla Ganis, a digital artist from Brooklyn, and she has a quote by Carl Sagan there. And she talks about it in the quote as a sort of virtual tattoo, where it's on 2 of her 4 workstations for the last period of time. And I think that idea is sort of interesting too. So it's also interesting when people sort of acknowledge the futility of it. So this woman is an art director in Germany, and she has a quote there about her folders that are called Total Messy Mess and Big Screaming Mess, which apparently is where she sorts things into. I love this sort of overlap with the personal, too, where this is a birthday party photograph of a gallery director in Seattle. And with this, she also sort of acknowledges that her email inbox is even worse than her desktop. So this is Dawn Gavin, who's a Baltimore artist, and those are airport departure and arrival routes. I think it's a nice metaphor for how information sort of intersects through our virtual spaces. So with all of these things, it's interesting to see the different comments that people have and the reasons why they make the decisions that they do. This woman talks about how black uses the least amount of energy and white uses the most amount of energy, so she settled on middle gray as a sort of eco-conscious decision. And this guy talks about it in terms of being a sort of virtual outbox, like where he sorts it according to what he has to do, what he's already accomplished, and clears it off once it's done. So it becomes sort of a clearinghouse for his creative practice. These next few here talk about piles. So this one says 1 pile for ideas, 1 pile for works in progress, 1 pile for finished work, 1 pile for cool things I steal from the internet, 1 pile for professional endeavors. And appropriately, she's a net video and performance artist based in Berlin. I love things like this, too, where my icons are the smallest that you can possibly go on a Mac, and hers are just about the biggest. So I guess she doesn't have to worry about fitting a lot in here. So it's also interesting to see how artists think about the idea of physicality. I spend a lot of time on the computer. This artist is also a photographer, and he talks about how he's got a sort of real-world work surface here as a sort of reminder to use more analog tools. And I think that perhaps there's something to that, you know, where we lose something in the digital process. And then this guy has a work in progress image there, and he talks about how it's an image he's tinkering with, so he can feel like he's working on art even when he can't, which I think is great. So this next one coming up here is a photographer and writer in Philadelphia named Sandy Sorleen, and her quote reads, "I used to have one completely covered with folders, completely covered. There was a myth that Mac didn't mind that. Then they decided that Mac did mind, and it labored under all of those files. So I created a desktop folder called Sandy folder, and now I can't find anything. So, and then in all fairness, this is my desktop as of Sunday, so putting myself out there. If you want to see more, there's about 274 of them on the Tumblr blog. There's a link through my site, which is natelarson.com, and thank you for your time.